There is an immense amount of negative information being thrown at you right now that can negatively affect your mindset, mental well being, and even your physical health. The traditional news media is putting out information that is meant to instill fear, anxiety, depression, and a negative outlook for the future. Everywhere you turn is some additional piece of bad news. According to Graham Davy, who was a professor of psychology at the University of Sussex, that exposure to bad news can make personal worries seem worse and even cause acute stress reactions and some symptoms of, get this, post-traumatic stress disorder that can be quite long lasting. According to another study by a professor at Pepperdine University, many people are experiencing bad news fatigue. They're feeling worn out. They're feeling overwhelmed, unmotivated, hopeless for the future, and depleted. So, since what is being shoved in front of us is not good news, it's up to us to feed ourselves with optimism, with positivity, and hope for the future. In fact, this has become more necessary today than ever before since technology has opened the gateway for access to news and information that was never in front of us before. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 50 years ago, we didn't have the access that we have today. I'm Brittany Anderson, president and partner at Sweet Financial Partners out of Southern Minnesota. Our team of professionals have worked with hundreds of people over the years during the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the peaks and valleys of their lives. And while we know that we can't control the markets, we can't control the economy, we can't directly control the political environment, what we can control is what we feed our minds and how we approach our future. In fact, myself and our founder at Sweet Financial, Brian Sweet, wrote the book Dream Architecture for that exact reason. It focuses solely on how you can create the future of your dreams by focusing on what's possible versus what you can't control. So you can actually grab yourself a free copy of that at dreamarchitecturebook.com. So think about the last time you turned on the news and or read a news report in a social media scroll. Did you feel invigorated? Did you feel excited about life? Were you ready to take on the world? Chances are you felt the complete opposite. When our clients come into the office and meet with their trusted advisors, there's a common question that keeps being presented, and that is, what's truth? How do we know what's true anymore? How do we know that the information we're receiving from these different news sources is true or founded or substantiated? How do we know which news station to pay attention to, which tabloid that we should put our attention on, the news feeds, et cetera, and so forth? The simple answer that we continue to share is that we don't know. We don't know exactly what is true, and it would be hard pressed to know that anybody reporting on it is giving that full big picture, not necessarily by any negative intent or negative purpose, but there's just so much out there that it's hard to condense it for one human mind to be able to comprehend. So while we don't know what is the exact truth in the negativity that's being pushed in front of us every day, what we do know is that we can control what we're putting into our minds. We can control what we're putting in front of us. And for the sake of relevancy, let's put this in perspective of your money or your wealth plan. If you're living in a state of fear, depression, anxiety for the future, focused on the uncertainties in the world, it can make the money that you've tucked away feel, I guess, meaningless. You might have the thought of, what's the point? Or, oh, great, I saved and now what's going to happen? Does it even matter? So when you're allowing yourself to get in that constant feed of negativity, it can make all of your hard work that led up to this point feel like it has less purpose, less intention, and less meaning. On the other hand, if you are feeding yourself with positive news, if you found something positive to focus on for your future, you set goals that keep you motivated, you're feeding your mind with positive stuff. It can be as simple as positive quotes to start your day. It's those little things that make a big difference. your sense of purpose and movement towards a bigger and exciting future, that can actually get you motivated for your future, for all that's coming, and feeling like there's purpose and meaning to everything, all the work that you've put in all these years that has led you up to this point. So you see the vast difference there, and the difference in mindset shift when you're focused on the negative, when you're allowing that to affect you, versus when you're being intentional with your thoughts, intentional on what you're putting in front of you. So you might be sitting here thinking, oh, great, another video on positive mindset. Another person out here telling me to just be positive or think about the good or think about only positive. The good news is that this is not just about high-level mindset. I'm not here to tell you to just be positive, because the truth is there's heavy stuff in the world. There's a lot going on, and I don't want to negate that or put less importance or emphasis on that. What I am here to share is that a reframing of your mindset is possible through the following 5 tactical methods that I'm about to share with you. So first off, when you're thinking about bringing more optimism into your life, increasing that optimism, increasing that positive energy, that positivity that you've got in your life, you want to reframe frustrating moments from your past. Now, stay with me here. What I mean by this is that your past, it's full of hard stuff. There's losses, there's heartache, there's anger, there's frustrations, there's sadness. There's things that have happened in all of our lives at some point that could have absolutely completely derailed or may have in some aspect or some regard. So one way to increase your optimism going forward is to find ways that those hard times actually served you and helped you get to where you are today. So even if you're not quite where you want to be yet, these tough lessons helped to shape you. They helped you, or they became teaching moments to help you become an even better you. So for example, let's put some context here. Maybe you have a severed relationship from your past, a severed relationship in your life where you have held on to animosity for a certain individual for a period of time. Instead of harboring that resentment, that frustration, that anger, try reframing it to look at what that interaction or what that relationship taught you. How did you become an even better version of yourself because of it? How did you grow through it? What will you choose different for your future that maybe you wouldn't have changed had you not have experienced that tumultuous relationship at some point? So the point being here is that before we can move into and onto a brighter, bigger future for ourselves, we have to let go of any negative harboring of the past. So really looking at how those past events have served you, how they've shaped you into who you are today, so that you can move forward in life and not succumb to so much of the fear mongering, the negativity that's being thrown at you, because you're constantly looking for ways. How has this helped me? How has this served me? How is this going to serve me going forward if you're stuck in the middle of a frustrating time right now? Point number 2 is to surround yourself with positive, inspiring, and supportive people. If you don't have immediate friends, connections, colleagues, a community or sense of community in your life that do this for you, that actually bring you up, that lift you up, that inspire you to be that even better version of yourself, it's important to find that community. So that could be even in the sense of an online community. It could be in some of your trusted advisors in your life, people who are willing to help you, for lack of better words, keep you in check a little bit, to help you with your mindset, to help you focus on the positive and focus on, what is good in this world versus succumbing to the what is bad. I'm sure any of us can think of, friendships, business interactions, colleagues, different people in your life that every time you're around them, they've got something negative to talk about. Maybe they caught the latest news story. Maybe they're mad at some friend or family member. Maybe they're upset about something in their community. There's always something. So we can all think of people in our lives like this. And the point is that it doesn't mean they're bad people, and they very likely are great people. The point is that when you put yourself around that level of negativity on a consistent basis, it can actually breed itself. So it can actually grow, and that's where you may become focused on the negative as well. You might become or succumb to some of that negative energy that's being put out there. So you just have to be mindful of how much time you're spending with those people. Now, on the other hand, we've all got people in our lives that, time seems to just go by when you're with them. You look down and you're like, wow, it's been an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. And you lose track of time because you're in a great state and they're positive and they're inspiring, they're uplifting, and they get you excited about the future and excited about life. So really being mindful of who you're putting in your corner. Do you have the people that can lift you up versus the ones that bring you down? And making sure that you're being very intentional about where you're or who you're allowing into your space, who you're allowing to spend the most time with you, so that you don't have that constant negative energy coming your way. To go more in depth with this, again, grab a free copy of our book. It's dreamarchitecturebook.com. That is also below in the show notes so that you can go deeper into how important it is to surround yourself with the right people. Point number 3 is to take some positive action into your future. Movement breeds momentum. Momentum breeds positive energy. So thinking about maybe moving towards a goal. Maybe you're sitting here looking at your future and you're at a point where you've had your career and now it's time to experience life, to travel, to spend time with loved ones that you maybe haven't had as much time to be around. So book that plane ticket. Commit to a travel agent, take some small action towards your future. It could be something as simple as taking up a new hobby or testing out a new hobby. Sign up for a local class in your community. Do something that gets you excited and gets you expansive towards your future. This can also be something as simple as reorganizing your pantry. I know it sounds silly. For the fellows out there, maybe you want to go reorganize the garage. Maybe you want to, whatever your space is, whatever your thing is. It could be in your kitchen. It could be in your living room. It could be, the basement, that kind of stuff just collects down there. Do something where you can see tangible progress. That's that momentum. That's that movement where you feel a sense of accomplishment and you have a purpose of moving towards something. You don't have to bite off some huge project here. It can be very small minutia type things just to get that energy and that momentum going. So taking action can help you feel like you have that renewed sense of purpose when you can clearly see the result of that small action that you took. So point number 4 is in focusing on the future you. So before I go any further, we're going to let go of any excuses here of I'm too old, it's too late, I'm beyond that point. Because last time I checked, there's no expiration sticker on your behind. We don't know when the good Lord's going to take us home. So why stop growing? Why stop learning? And why stop expanding ourselves, especially if that aids in an optimistic outlook for the future? So I always think on this topic of our founder and my business partner, Brian Sweet's dear Aunt Jean. So Jean has passed now, but I was in a conversation with her when she was 90 years old. You heard me, 90, 90 years old. And she had signed up to take a painting class. I was asking her questions about it and I was like, oh, do you paint? Like, is that your thing? And she's like, no, I just figure, I may as well try it out. May not be very good, but someday I might be good. I was like, wait a second. At 90 years old, you're looking to take up a new hobby, to become good at something, to give yourself something to look forward to. And I truly believe that aided in, her being a healthy, really fun, cool 90-year-old woman, all the way up leading until her passing. She had something to look forward to. She had a long, expansive life because she never stopped growing and she never stopped learning. So think about something for yourself, your future self. What's something that if you were to look into the future, even just a couple years, maybe even just 1 year, if you were to look ahead and say, gosh, I'd really like to be this person. And again, I want to make a clear distinction here. You're not comparing yourself to anybody else here. We're not saying that you want to be like your friend. We're not saying you want to be like some famous person you admire. What you're doing here is you're leaning into your full potential. So maybe you want to be somebody who tries new things, who steps outside the box. It could be something as simple as trying new restaurants, not falling back on Old Faithful, doing something that pushes you outside of your box. Those are the kind of things that can make you feel like you've got something to look forward to as far as your own personal growth. So being so intentional of who do you want to be? Who is the person that you want to lean into? A famous American businessman, Keith Cunningham, he stated that hell on earth would be meeting the man or woman that you were meant to be. Don't allow that to be you. Don't stop growing. That can feed and fuel optimism in your life. It could be personal characteristics, traits you admire in others that you want to embrace in yourself. So these are things to start thinking about and moving towards. Again, don't forget that taking action component so that you can truly lean into your biggest potential. The fifth and final tip, before we do a really quick recap on ways that you can incorporate more optimism or more optimism, become more optimistic in your life, is to have patience with yourself. Practice both gratitude and grace. So there are always the little tangible acts that you can, take advantage of here. It could be gratitude journaling, writing down positives from your day. Again, focusing on positive quotes. That little bit of boost can really influence your day or start your day off on the right foot. So those are all things that have been talked about a lot, that are constantly pushed out there. But the bigger picture here is to have an awareness of when you're feeling down or stressed out and have those tangible things that you've known, that you've tried, that can bring you out of that state. So pay attention when you're down in the dumps, when you're letting the negative news affect you, when you're feeling truly impacted by all that's going on in the world and all that you're being exposed to. Have that awareness switch to be able to say, okay, I'm in this negative state. I'm not feeling my best. I'm not at my best. I'm not showing up as my best. So what do I need to do to refocus that? A lot of times when we start having that awareness or that realization, it becomes clear that how we were spending our time was probably not the most productive. Maybe we're listening to the news a little too much. Maybe we're scrolling social media a little more than we normally do. Maybe we are being caught by the latest, social media news feed. Those are the kind of things that can really bog us down and make the world feel a lot heavier than it even is. So this acute awareness can make all the difference. Why it's so important to be mindful about what you're feeding your brain, what you're putting in front of you, what are you focusing your attention on? Because the negative stuff is going to breed negativity. It's like mold. It spreads, right? So same thing with positivity. When you start focusing on the positive, when you start surrounding yourself with people who have that same mindset, who are focused on impact, focused on growth, focused on contribution, focused on how they can help and support those around them. That is an uplifting sense of community. So as a quick recap on the 5 key points that you can put in place today to increase the optimism in your life, to increase your optimistic thoughts for the future, is to reframe frustrating moments from the past, surround yourself with positive, inspiring people, take some positive action towards your future, focus on the future you, and have patience, have gratitude, and a little bit of grace for where you're at. None of us are perfect, and we just want to make sure that we are mindful of when we start going in that negative gap. So for more insights on navigating challenging times, tune into Navigating Uncertainty and Adversity in the Current Age from the Dream Architect Life podcast featuring myself and Mr. Brian Sweet. Be sure to like and subscribe our channel so that you are the first to know when any new content drops. We'll catch you back here next time.